So you're doing some pulls on the current banner and you get a 4-piece Gilded Dreams Artifact Set. Now, in this video, we are going to look at this artifact set, what it does, its main stats, and who it can be good for. So as you can see right here, this 2-piece is going to increase your elemental mastery by 80. The 4-piece, within 8 seconds of triggering elemental reaction, the character equipping will obtain the following buffs based on the elemental types in the party. I'm not going to read it. I just know it. So if you have the elemental type of the same character equipping, in this case we have Yaimiko, the similar element, so electro, they are going to get, or Yaimiko is going to get an attack buff upon causing an elemental reaction. For all the differing elements than electro, she will gain elemental mastery, 50 for each, and it'll count up to 3 characters. So we are going to show this in action. Now, we're going to take Yaimiko, and then we've got Gaming, we've got Chevy, and we've got Benny. And we are going to cause an elemental reaction. And once we cause that elemental reaction, Yaimiko's elemental mastery is going to go up by 150. So her elemental mastery right now is 359. Once we cause the reaction, it goes up to 509. That is the 150 EM increase. Now, if we have like Miko, Raiden, Chevy, and Benny, then we're going to have 2 electro and 2 pyro. When we cause an elemental reaction, we are going to get 100 elemental mastery and the attack increase. So after causing the elemental reaction, Yaimiko's attack is 1158 and her EM is 459. So it has gone up on both of those because we have an element matching her and 2 elements differing from her. So now, who can this artifact set be good for? Well, just like in the video that I did the other day talking about hyper bloom triggers and their artifact sets, this is going to be good for a lot of characters that are causing either hyper bloom or burgeon. So Yaimiko is one of those characters. Now, Yaimiko's damage to scale off of EM once you get her passives and stuff like that, EM and attack kind of. But she can make very, very good use of this artifact set in a quicken team or a quick bloom team, especially if you're going to be using her on field to have more control over triggering those hyper blooms that are going to come with the quicken bloom playstyle. Next, we're going to have a Raiden Shogun, who is the best, arguably, I like Kuki better, best hyper bloom trigger in the game. So if you have Raiden as the only electro in your party, then you can get her an extra 150 EM with triggering an elemental reaction. So you can get as much EM as possible on Raiden to be your hyper bloom trigger. This is going to be phenomenal. And you're going to see that as a reoccurring theme through this video. It's going to be really good for electro characters, really good for pyro characters that would be doing burgeon, and then some Dendro characters, actually a lot of Dendro characters. And an example of a pyro character would be like Dia. Dia would be a very slow burgeon trigger, but if you're using her in like a hyper burgeon Nouvelette team, this can be very, very good for her. You would just be building as much EM as possible. Now, like I said, Kuki is one of the best, if not the best in my personal opinion, hyper bloom triggers in the game. I prefer to use her over Raiden. But having this set on her, if I didn't have Flowers of Paradise Lost, would be her go-to hyper bloom artifact set. Next, we're going to have like Fischl, and this is going to be if you don't have a good Golden Troop. Golden Troop is going to outperform Fischl even in a quicken team, even in an aggravate team. But if you have a very good Gilded Dreams set, then this can perform on par with a Golden Troop set. It's got to be really, really good though. But you can do this because she will enjoy the attack as well as the EM. Next is going to be Razor. Now, Razor is going to kind of be like Sino, where this is specifically going to be if you are using Razor in a quick bloom team, because you're going to be doing a lot of quicken, you're going to be doing a lot of hyper bloom. So having this set on Razor can be very, very good for those quicken reactions because he will appreciate the attack and the EM. Toma is going to be another pyro user, admittedly a better burgeoner than Dia for quicker burgeons, but this is going to be a very, very good artifact set for him to get his elemental mastery up for burgeons. Dory can also use this if you are using Dory as a hyper bloom trigger, which works with C6. Dory works actually pretty well with Farina in a quicken bloom team. So now we're going to talk about the Dendro characters. Now, Nahida is a character that can make use of this because of her passives. You want Nahida to get to 1000 EM, and this can very much help her get to 1000 EM, so that way her passives can give it to other characters. So this is, if you have Deep Woods on somebody else in your team, if you're running double Dendro, then you can do Gilded Dreams on Nahida. If you do not have Deep Woods on another character, you want Deep Woods on Nahida. Speaking of Deep Woods, that's actually the other artifact set in the domain with Gilded. So you can get a really, really good 2-for-1 at this domain. Very, very efficient, which is the downfall to Flowers of Paradise Lost. Not very efficient. So continuing with the Dendro, we have Alhaitham. Alhaitham does scale very, very well with EM, especially the teams you're going to put him in are going to be quicken teams or quick bloom teams. So this is going to be very, very good for him because he's going to love the elemental mastery from this. It is his best set if you have another character with Deep Woods on them. That is the caveat with all of these Dendro characters. You still need Deep Woods on somebody else to get the Dendro resistance drop from Deep Woods. So if you have Deep Woods on somebody else, put Gilded Dreams on Alhaitham. It's very, very good for him. Same thing with a character like Kaveh. This is going to increase the damage from his blowing up the blooms. It's also going to increase his overall damage. Again, you have to have another Dendro with Deep Woods though. Same thing is going to go for Tighnari, right? He's going to be very, very good in a quicken team, which is typically what you run with Tighnari, a quicken or a quick bloom team. You have to have Deep Woods on somebody else. I'm going to repeat it like 6 times in this video. That's because of how important Deep Woods is. If you don't have Deep Woods on somebody else, you need Deep Woods on Tighnari. And finally, we have Sino, who we talked about kind of with Razor earlier. It's going to work very similarly, where you're going to be using him in a quicken or a quick bloom team, and he's going to love the EM, especially if you are using his signature weapon. It very much helps to have a set like Gilded on Sino. So that is going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, do be sure to leave it down in the comments. Myself or someone else, be sure to answer it, and I'll see you in the next one.